Hi, I'm JJ. Welcome or welcome back. Today I'm going to be going over my very optimistic uh, to be read list for September. Uh, I already had kind of idea of what I wanted just because there's a couple very highly anticipated new releases out. But then I'm also participating or want to participate in Shorty September, which is a bunch of short books, and then Shaketember, I think it is, for Shakespeare. So my list is a little bit long, especially since one of the new releases is I don't have yet, and that I'll talk about first. That one is Sisters in the Wind by Angeline Bowley. And that one is the third in a not trilogy, but it's like an interconnected series. And so I'm really excited about that. I have loved her other two books. The next one, and I haven't had a chance to talk about it before, but I knew I would this month as I'm reading the sequel to it, so I'll get a chance to. So this is the sequel. It's called The Lost Soul Among Wolves, or The Last Soul Among Wolves, sorry. The other book that was fantastic was called The Last Hour Between Worlds, and this is by Melissa Caruso, and they're a fantasy, sci-fi, mystery, a little bit of horror type of story. The first one was very unique and unlike anything I had written. It deals with like a parallel universe, but it's they're beneath us. So as you get through each layer, that kind of like Stranger Things with the upside down, it gets weirder and weirder as you get further down. And I think they never got past like 7 layers or something like that, but even the first two are strange. And so the first one was the clocks kept resetting every time, kind of like Groundhog's Day, like reliving, and people would die. Like they were all at this house party, and a bunch of people died, and they got close to solving it, and then it would reset, and then more people would die, and they just had to kind of find a way to fix it all, figure out who was behind it, and stop it, because once it got through basically all of the layers, were kind of 1 hour behind. So once it got through that, so they had like 7 hours or so to try to solve this murder, reliving that hour. And in the meantime, if they would have not, if it catches up to them, if time catches up to them, the people stay dead. Whereas when it resets, they're alive again, and they get a second chance to try to save people. And so sometimes the same people are dying, sometimes it's a different person. Like if they catch onto it and like prevent one person, then it kind of so then that makes it harder to find out what the true motive is and who's doing it. So it was really less complicated than I'm probably making it sound, because it was unique and fascinating and very fun. And so this is the sequel to that. And this one is, once again, the main character has to try to solve more murders, but this time she's stuck in a mansion with a bunch of friends, and there's 8 people there. Half of them are her best friends, and they start dying one by one. So she wants to stop it before she loses everyone she cares about, or she's next. So these are unique, they're fun, they're kind of dark, and I don't know, I would recommend it if you just want to try to find something new. Definitely give the first one a shot. And then for Shakespeare, I've already read all of his plays. I might try to at least finish his last one that I haven't gotten to yet, which is Edward the Third. And yeah, Edward the Third. And that I'll see if I make time for, but I'm kind of gonna focus on, and I'll do a separate video for these, but I want to focus on his retellings, just because I'm fascinated by how many retellings they are, especially when they do like modern day retellings. Like, I grew up with a lot of the TV, or a lot of the movies, so like She's the Man, which was 12th Night, and then 10 Things I Hate About You, which was Taming of the Shrew. And they're cheesy, they're 90s movies, but they were so much fun. A great introduction to especially some of the comedies that I'm not always a fan of his comedies, but I really enjoyed these. And then there also was one called I think they might have changed it and it's Othello now, but when I was growing up it was and that's a remake as well, obviously, of Othello, but it's also modern day. And they also did a very odd but very good modern day Romeo and Juliet, where it was set in modern times. They're like dressed in modern clothes, they're using guns instead of swords, but they're still using all of the actual dialogue and stuff from Shakespeare. So like, they didn't update it the way that the other books had, or the other movies had, but they just updated the setting, which was jarring but fascinating at the same time. So I grew up with those, so I really like his retellings. I had read a book when I was in high school, 1,000 Acres, which was also a movie, and I didn't realize that was actually a retelling of King Lear, and just how common it is. So I am going to read this one, and it's The Last True Poets of the Sea, and this one is supposed to be a retelling of Twelfth Night as well. So I'm interested in modern retellings. I think this is a queer take on it, which that play is very, very not straight. And then I'm also going to be listening to Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell, and that is kind of a retelling of, or a reimagining of Shakespeare's life, and kind of his inspirations and stuff, centering around his son Hamnet, and that tragedy and stuff. So I've been meaning to read that one for a long time, so this gives me the reason to jump it up. And also I'll be listening to The Lamb by Lucy Rose, and that's for a book club that I'm in, so that's our book this month. And then for my own personal taste, since I'm done with the season of Buchanan, or Buccaneers, which I believe is season 3, so season 2, and so I'm gonna finally read the book, Edith Wharton's book. It's an unfinished one, and there are so many changes for the series from what I know, so my cats are running around, I apologize for that. So I am curious to know what parts they follow and which parts they don't, because there were some storylines that I very much loved, and I do hope they're in here, and then there are some that kind of got a little dull, so I'm hoping that the book lives up to as much as I did thoroughly enjoy the show. And then for Shorty September, I have a stack, but I'm like I said, this is very optimistic, so I'm just going to try to get through as many of these ones as possible. I want to make sure that I do read The Way of Salt. This one is Sumo in the Culture of Japan. I want to do this one specifically so that I can do a video talking about sumo later on. So I want to finally get a chance to read that. Clarice Lispector, House of the Star. Neighbors, The Story of a Murder. And this one is a story, let's see. Oh, Mozambique. So I haven't read anything from anyone there, so I'm excited, and it's short. Plus, it sounded really interesting. And then this one I had already shown you when I got it from the book fair in Detroit. But this is Ken, and it's really interesting because it's play, it's poetry, it's prose, it's like just a whole bunch of different writing styles, and it's very short, so I don't know how that's all going to come together, but we'll see. And then this one I keep, some of my favorite YouTubers keep mentioning this, so I'm excited to pick it up, but it's A Short Stay in Hell, and it's also the writing is quite big, which is very helpful. I enjoy that. So then this will be an even easier read. And so those are the ones I'm going to at least try to get through as many of those as possible this month. But I am prioritizing the book club one, the Shakespeare one, their new releases. And then we'll read at least a couple of those short stories. But if it goes well, maybe I can read more. And then whatever audiobooks I have, whether they're ones I'm still waiting for at the library, or if any other ones are going to be expiring soon, I'll be having to listen to those quickly. But I do want to make sure that I'm listening to The Day of the Locust. So those are my hopeful reads for September. Things always change, and I either lose motivation and decide to read something completely different, or get inspired to read something different, however you want to look at it. So that might change. But I know for sure that there's some that I'm very excited about, and I'm excited to share with you. So what are you reading in September? What ones are you participating in? Are you doing the short story or short ones, or are you doing Shakespeare? I don't even know if there's any other tags going around, but I would be curious to know if any of these fit it, so I can participate in those as well. So if you have any new tags, just please let me know so I can possibly participate, or at least watch the videos of other people. So anyway, I hope that maybe I give you some ideas for something to read, or you have your own list that you're excited about. But either way, happy reading.